A week after you had walked away, the city won't stop talking in his voice. Not words, never that. Just the noise of 100 broken radios at the edge of hell's night. A glitched trumpet 6 blocks over, a barbershop quarter trapped in a storm drain, a record needle propping on the roof that has no record player. You moved into the crooked little boarding house with the bed that sags and a window that rattles when the neon across the street buzzes awake. You kept telling yourself that the sounds are a coincidence. Hell is a loud place and he doesn't own static. But the song that finds your window on the 8th night is the one he hummed once absentmindedly when he thought you were sleeping. Something older than most synths, sweet and low, it slips under the sill into your chest. You last 5 minutes before you grab your coat. The streets between the boarding house and the hotel are a smear of bad lighting and worse intentions. You take the long way, stubbornly pretending that this is just a walk and not an orbit reforming. You tell yourself you're not just gonna stand across the street and look. You tell yourself you'll turn around. You're halfway through the door telling yourself that. A lie about needing fresh air when 3 bruisers step out of a side alley. You recognize a crest stitched into their collars. The overlord who came after you to get him. Well, to get to him. Your mouth goes dry. Well, says the tallest, with that smirk that rot man thinks he's got charm. Little radio pet. Heard you left your keeper. You take a step back, and a trash can blocks your heel. Your brain maps exits uselessly fast. I mean, you could scream, you could run, you could... Good evening, gentlemen. The voice doesn't come from behind you or above you or from any direction, really, that you could at least point to. It comes from everywhere. A street light, loose wires, a tiny speaker inside the bus stop, a vending machine across the road. It comes from everywhere. It seems to just vibrate throughout the air. A microphone rises out of the shadows like onto the wall, like its curtains being pulled back, static threads through the air. Alastor doesn't step into the light. He never gives a obvious entrance when the better one is implied. Instead, you feel him move through the noise. His smile is somehow audible the way his knife's edge hums if you pluck it. Before we proceed, he says mildly, I must ask the lady a question. The 3 bruisers flinch at his amusement and try to look braver than sense should allow. You find your breath again, just enough to breathe, and speak a question. What question? You ask, throat tight. Whether you wish for me to intervene. His tone is light, almost controversial. A pause, but it's softer. And if so, to what extent? He'd never asked you that before. Your pulse stutters, not from fear, from the shape of the choice laid cleanly at your feet. You look at the man and you look at the shadow where you know he is. Yes, you say, steady, despite the shake in your hands. Please, but don't kill them. I don't want more blood on my account. There's a smile in the static that no one else would hear. As you like. The streetlights of the tallest thug flicker twice and then cast a perfect circle, a halo or a stage mark. The man glances up confused, and that's when the microphone shadow detaches from the wall and becomes rope. No, not rope. A ribbon of radio cables twining his wrists before he can shout. The second and the third men lunge and find their boots glued to the pavement by a sudden blossoming black liquor that someone spilled on a piano, and it hardened around their ankles. That's kind of what it looked like. No gore, no screams. The city merely decides they're not going anywhere without your say-so. Alastor lets out a silence, just long enough to make a lesson. Then, to the men in the tone, feather soft, horrible, carry back my regards and inform your employer that anyone seeking leverage will find me exquisitely bored, and that boredom is a thing he cannot afford. The lacquer expleses, and the cable slide away, and the men stumble free, panting as if the alley had grown teeth, and stumbling as they run. You're left with an echo in your heartbeat. "May I approach?" he said, sort of slowly. "Yeah," you say, turning around to face the shadow. He steps into the edge of the street lamp and becomes a person again. If person ever really fit him, hat tip just so, and cane catching the weak light. He stops at arm's length away from you and lifts one gloved hand, hovering but not touching. Your collar's turned. "May I?" he says. You nod and he fixes it with precise fingers and then lowers his hand, like he might startle. "Thank you," you say, but because the words matter. "Thank you," he replies, and the politeness is not a joke. "For the parameter." A little laugh shakes out of you. "You mean the don't kill them part?" His eyes glint. "Very specific, very binding. It seems I do better with terms." You let the laugh fade. You always have. A beat passes, where neither of you fill the space with noise. It feels new. "You don't have to come," he says at last. "I told myself that I wouldn't," you admit, and yet he does his head. A mystery. You study him, the old ache in your chest is still there. It's a changed shape. "You were following the Alastor," you say. "Monitoring the neighborhood," he corrects, unbothered. "I prefer to keep an ear on those who believe I am at my most vulnerable when alone." "And me?" you ask. He smiles, but you never are noise, darling. You are a signal. And you add, because the courage is here anytime. If we talk, you say after a moment of silence, we do it with terms, not just rules to break cleaver agreements, not consequences, choices, no bait, no secrets about threats that involve me. Ask before you touch me or move me, and if I say no, it's a full stop, not a challenge. You tell me when you're going to do something that will make me afraid, and you don't laugh at my fear. He listened without interrupting, which was something quite strange for him. And you add, because the courage is here, and honestly, you might as well spend it. If I get overwhelmed, I get to leave anytime, no theatrics to punish me. Alastor inclines. I accept. You are a bit startled at that. That fast? Darling, his tone goes wiry. I have a week to consider your previous broadcast. It would be quite poor radio to come unprepared. In fact, he taps his cane over the sidewalk once, and the bus stop speaker crackles. One moment. A pleasant announcer's voice fills the air like a stage curtain lifting. His, by the way. "Listeners," it says, "tonight's program features an experimental arrangement and an accord between the radio demon and a singular, stubborn heart. Terms include transparency, mortal peril, explicit consent prior to physical contact, cessation of baiting behaviors, and the revolutionary concept known as known means no. Violations will result in immediate dead air." You glare at him, and despite the twitch in your mouth, "Alastor," He glances, and the bus stops, goes silent. My apologies. I thought, well, it was easier to obey the rules if I speak aloud. Then speak them to me, not the city. You laugh, but you know he wouldn't. He didn't try to kiss you, didn't even reach for your hand as you tried to turn away. He lets you go because you asked him to. Behind you, the gramophone scratches back to life, as if the building itself can't wait for tomorrow. You don't look back. You don't have to, because you choose, and he heard you, and for once in hell, the static agrees. Oh, you were so back together.